They laughed when he walked in. The guards chuckled under their breath. The clerk rolled her eyes. Even the judge smirked. A homeless man, standing in the middle of the courtroom, clothes torn, shoes worn thin. But when he reached into his bag and pulled out a piece of paper no one expected, the laughter stopped. The courtroom smelled of old wood and coffee. Tall windows let in narrow shafts of sunlight, dust swirling in the air. Rows of pews creaked as people shifted, whispering about the man sitting alone at the defendant's table. His name was David Carter, 62 years old, beard untrimmed, jacket torn at the sleeve. He looked more like someone you'd find sleeping under a bridge than standing in front of a judge. Two security guards leaned against the back wall, whispering to each other. "Can you believe this guy?" one muttered. "He probably wandered in here by mistake," the other replied, grinning. But David wasn't lost. He was there for a reason, and today, that reason would shake everyone in the room. The case seemed simple. A local store owner accused David of trespassing. Said he was begging outside the shop, scaring away customers. Police had been called. David had been arrested. Now he sat in court, facing fines he couldn't possibly pay. The store owner, a man in a sharp suit, gold watch glinting under the lights, told the judge, "Your Honor, this man is nothing but a nuisance. He doesn't belong here. He belongs off the streets." The guards snickered again. Even the prosecutor half smiled. Everyone already thought they knew the ending. But David didn't speak. Not yet. He sat still, hands folded, eyes calm. The judge leaned forward. "Mr. Carter," he said, his tone dismissive. "Do you have representation?" David looked up. "No, Your Honor. I'll represent myself." That's when the laughter really started. The guards chuckled openly. The store owner shook his head, almost pitying him. Even the clerk stifled a laugh as she typed. A homeless man, representing himself. It was absurd, or so they thought. David stood. His movements were deliberate, steady. He reached into the worn backpack at his feet. Everyone leaned in, curious. Was he about to pull out some scribbled notes? Maybe a half-torn piece of paper? He pulled out a neatly folded document. Thick paper. Official seal. Black ink. He placed it on the table in front of him. The judge squinted. The clerk leaned forward. It wasn't a scrap of paper. It was a law degree. Yale University. Class of 2005. The room fell silent. No more chuckling from the guards. No more smirking from the prosecutor. David looked directly at the judge. "With all due respect, Your Honor," he said, his voice steady and clear, "I know the law, and I know my rights. I graduated top of my class nearly 2 decades ago. What I don't know is why everyone in this room assumes I'm less capable because of how I look today." The words cut through the courtroom like a blade. David didn't stop there. He told his story. How he once worked at a prestigious law firm in New York. How he argued cases in courtrooms just like this one. How he wore $1,000 suits, drove a new car, lived in a penthouse apartment. Until tragedy struck. His wife passed away suddenly. Depression followed. The drinking started. The job slipped away. Then the apartment. Then everything. He ended up on the streets. Homeless. Forgotten. Judged not by what he knew, but by how he looked. The guards shifted uncomfortably. The store owner glanced away. Then David turned back to the case. He spoke like a lawyer. Precise. Unshaken. He cited statutes. Case precedents. Constitutional protections. "This arrest," he said firmly, "was unlawful. I was not trespassing. I was on public property, exercising my right to be present. No threats were made. No laws were broken. And the store owner's complaint is based solely on how I look, not what I did." His voice rose, echoing off the wooden walls. "This is not justice. This is prejudice disguised as law." No one laughed now. The prosecutor sat frozen, papers in hand but no arguments left. The store owner shifted nervously in his seat, tugging at his tie. Even the guards kept their eyes low, their earlier smirks replaced with unease. The judge leaned back in his chair, silent for a long moment. Finally he spoke. "Mr. Carter, your argument is sound. The charges are dismissed. Gasps filled the room. The store owner started to protest, but the judge cut him off. This man has every right to stand where he stood, and every right to be treated with dignity. David didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He simply nodded, collected his degree, and slipped it back into his bag. As he walked out of the courtroom, the guards who had laughed earlier stepped aside, their faces red. One whispered, almost to himself, "Guess he wasn't what we thought." And he wasn't. He was more. How many times do we judge people by the clothes they wear? By the way they smell? By where they sleep at night? How many brilliant minds have we ignored because we only saw their broken shoes instead of their unbroken spirit? David's story isn't just about a courtroom victory. It's about the danger of assumptions. About the arrogance of looking at someone and thinking you already know their worth. Because sometimes the man you laugh at is the man who knows the law better than you ever will. And sometimes the homeless man you step around on the street is someone who once stood at the very top and still carries wisdom the world can't take away. So the next time you see someone and think they're beneath you, remember this courtroom. Remember David. And remember, respect costs nothing, but means everything. David's story isn't just about a courtroom victory. It's about the danger of assumptions. About the arrogance of looking at someone and thinking you already know their worth. Because sometimes the man you laugh at is the man who knows the law better than you ever will. And sometimes the homeless man you step around on the street is someone who once stood at the very top and still carries wisdom the world can't take away. So the next time you see someone and think they're beneath you, remember this courtroom. Remember David. And remember, respect costs nothing, but means everything. People sometimes don't appear as we expect them to, but it is truly unwise to judge anyone at first sight not knowing who they truly are. This is not just a mere story, it has a lot of lessons for us to learn from and also change our perspective. Because sometimes the man you laugh at is the man who knows the law better than you ever will. And sometimes the homeless man you step around on the street is someone who once stood at the very top and still carries wisdom the world can't take away. So the next time you see someone and think they're beneath you, remember this courtroom. How many times do we judge people by the clothes they wear? By the way they smell? By where they sleep at night? Even though it is important to dress well and smell well, but it should not become a yardstick for measuring people's worth and a definition of their personality. We trust you love our story. Please subscribe to our channel for more chilling stories. Subscribe, like and share our stories for others to see.